Just one day after we talked about consumer prices being higher, we learned wholesale prices also rose. So the producer price index, or PPI, jumped 0.4%. That is higher than expected and could be another indicator that the progress against inflation has stalled. So I want to bring in CBS News MoneyWatch correspondent Kelly O'Grady, who joins me now in Studio 55 to talk more about this. So what caused PPI to tick up?
Yeah, so let's remember, this is producer prices. And so this is the cost that producers pay when they're producing the goods that then they sell to us. So the two biggest ones were what's called travel accommodation services. So basically that means the costs for your restaurants, your hotels. Think about the hospitality sector. That jumped 5.7% versus last month. So that's much higher than that overall 0.4% number. The other one, and this is such an important one, is diesel. That rose 10.2%. And I always call diesel the canary in the coal mine when it comes to inflation, because think about it. Diesel impacts different products that are made. It's also what trucks run on that transport everything. I do want to note the market isn't really reacting like we saw it with CPI yesterday. And that's because some of the earlier costs in the pipeline, so airfare, some medical ones as well, it sort of showed that maybe we might see relief for producer prices in the next few reports.
So I don't want to ask you to predict, but and we talked about how yesterday these are indicators from when Biden was still president of the United States, right? These are coming in from December and January, but I wonder what it's going to look like next month when we get these numbers.
Yeah, so that's kind of, they're reading the tea leaves, and they're saying it actually might come down a little bit. That being said, let's be honest, Vlad, yesterday we thought CPI, based on all the economists predicting, was going to come in lower than expected, and it actually increased. So sometimes the reading of the tea leaves is not great. I think what's really important about the PPI, though, is that when this rises, that is the warning sign that we're going to see consumer prices rise.
Because as it costs more for producers to produce, they pass those costs on to us.
Exactly.
And so that's why I was curious about what the CPI could look like, because my guess would be that prices would be higher.
Exactly. You will see that cost get pushed down to us when we go to the grocery store or wherever. And just a little plug from the MoneyWatch team, there is a tracker that you can use. It is cbsnews.com prices. So you can just sort of track those prices.
You can track
online.
the prices of household goods and the things that are essential to consumers. All right, let's talk about the president on Truth Social this morning, talking about reciprocal tariffs, which are coming today. So which of the countries are going to be impacted by this? Okay,
so big ones are going to be India. It's going to be Vietnam, China, of course. I mean, we've already imposed tariffs on them under his administration and previous administrations. There's also this question of the VAT with Europe.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, it's a tax that exports, when they're coming from, let's say, the U.S., when they go to Europe, it's a tax that's paid. It's not really a tariff, and so we're going to see whether that is something that the president...
He's applying VATs here?
No, so Europe applies a VAT.
Yeah, you usually go to the airport and then you
you fill out the form.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's one. But for example, in Europe, cars specifically, there's a 10% tax on American cars going over to Europe. It's only about 2.5% coming into the country. So you could see that specifically go up to match that 10%.
Wow. All right. Yeah, this is going to be very interesting, because on one hand, as you say, these tariffs long term may be a good play for the United States, but short term, there's going to be some pain. And actually, the president did say that in a tweet a few, whatever they're calling them now. What are the young people calling them? X's? Posts?
I don't know. I'm still in the tweet age.
Me too. Kelly, always great to have you here. Thank you very much.